Let's take a look at using a for loop. The main advantage of a for loop is that it's less prone to generating an infinite loop than while or do while. The basic syntax looks like this. The loop is controlled by three expressions that are separated by semicolons, and they go between a pair of parentheses after the for keyword. The first expression is executed before the loop runs, and is normally used to initialize a counter. The second expression sets the condition that determines how long the loop should run, and the third expression is executed at the end of each iteration of the loop and is normally used to increment the counter. It sounds complicated, but is actually quite simple in practice. Let's go to an editing program and use a for loop. This is for_loop.php, which you can find in the chapter 5 05_02 folder of the exercise files. In this file, I've created an array of characters from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The information is hard-coded above the doctype declaration here, but it might come from an external source such as a database. So let's use a for loop to display the characters' names in an unordered list. So we need to create a PHP block between the UL tags in the body of the page. That's on line 14. So we'll have our PHP block. And then inside there we need to create our for loop. Now we need a condition to control how many times the loop runs. There are 5 items in the characters array, so we could just hard code 5 into the condition. But very often you don't know how many items are in an array, and we can get the number by using count and putting the name of the array inside the parentheses. So let's do that first. So we'll call it num items. And then count, and between a pair of parentheses the name of the array, which is characters. Then we need our for loop, and the first thing inside that for loop is the counter. We need to initialize that, so I'm going to initialize I at 0. That's because arrays are always counted from 0. Then the next one is the condition for how long it runs, so we need I to be less than num items. And then finally we need to increment our counter, so that's I++, and then a pair of curly braces for the body of the loop. And all we need to do inside that loop is to display a pair of list item tags together with the current character. So echo, then we'll have a double quoted string, and inside there opening li tag, and then characters, which is our array, and then we need the number from the array, the index, and we get that from our counter I. So the first time that the loop runs, I will be 0. It will display the first element in the array. The next time it runs, I will be 1, and so on. So we just need our closing li tag and a semicolon. Save that and load the page into the browser. And there it is. It's created our unordered list in that for loop. In this example, I've set the counter to increment by 1 each time the loop runs, but you're not limited to that. Let's increment it by 2 each time. So instead of using the increment operator, it will be I, then plus equals 2. So if we save that and reload into the browser, it now displays every other element in our array. We can also run the loop in reverse. So let's just duplicate this line, and then we'll comment out the first version. And we need to initialize I at num items -1. And then the condition, instead of being I being less than num items, we need it to be greater than or equal to 0, and then I at the end, we will use the decrement operator, which is 2 minus signs immediately after the variable. So if we save that and then reload the page in the browser, we're now running that array in reverse. So we're starting with Slarty Bartfast, the last element, and Arthur Dent, the first element, brings up the last element in our reversed array. So with a for loop, all the controls are specified by the three expressions separated by semicolons between the parentheses at the start of the loop. This makes maintenance easy and reduces the likelihood of creating an infinite loop. The first expression initializes values at the beginning of the loop. In this example, we used only one counter, but you can specify multiple ones separated by commas. The second expression sets the condition that controls how long the loop should run, and the final expression is executed at the end of each iteration of the loop and is normally used to increase or decrease the value of counter variables.